Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was in one of my classes that I was taking, had a really big final for was psychology. Okay, and so in psychology, in high school you don't really think too much, so I didn't study that much. I didn't really prepare for it. I knew some of it, without studying, I figured I'd get like maybe a C or something like that. But come even today or any day, the day of your speech or test or whatever, you're stressed, really stressed. You're nervous, you're anxious, maybe your hands get cold, you get kind of finicky and whatnot. And so what happened is that my psychology teacher, she came up to us and she gave us all a piece of chocolate, and she says, we all asked why, we thought we were being good students, and she says, I'll give you a piece of chocolate because it helps relieve stress, because chocolate produces endorphins that go up into your head, and they kind of feel good. It's to help you relax, calm, be able to focus, and it also has effects on cognitive development. So you can it helps you remember things a little bit better. And so that will happen. So what does that mean in the end? It means that we're all stressed. I can tell some of the people out here, that they prepared today, they're probably nervous and everything like that. So according to Beverly Bird of Livestrong.com, one of the things with chocolate is, like I said, it produces serotonin, which is a feel-good endorphin that gets sent to your head and makes you feel better. Another thing, according to Beverly Page of WebMD, is that according also to the the National Freshman, which is a national study that's taken on freshmen in high school. They rate them on many things, but one of the things they rate them on is their emotional health. And with their emotional health, a lot of them, about 46% previous than the past decade, rate themselves low in emotional health. That means, once again, stress, And that's also because a lot of us have jobs, we have, family situations, we have homework, we have essays, things collide, things happen, and so what happens? So one of the things I'm going to demonstrate in this speech, teach you how to make, is brownies, and also a bit I'll teach you also ways to jazz them up. So the first thing I'm going to go over is ingredients and utensils. So just basic things you can use is for me, I'm using a whisk because I don't want to bring in a mixer. A mixer obviously helps and makes things easier. Measuring cups. If you know anything about baking, baking is different than cooking. Baking is a science in a sense because you have to be exact. A knife, spoon, fork to mix things, it doesn't really matter. Spatula sort of type thing, so you can just get all the extra chocolate awesomeness out. And then for the ingredients, for this recipe we need 4 eggs, we need a teaspoon of vanilla extract, we need half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, we need a cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of cocoa powder, and 2 cups of sugar. Okay, so now that and 1 cup of melted butter. Most recipes, they don't require you to melt the butter, but this one did. It makes it easier to mix since I'm using, obviously, a little whisk. So the first thing we want to do, now that I'm going to demonstrate how to bake and prepare, is the first thing you want to do is preheat the oven to 350, so that by the time you're ready and done, mixing your ingredients, you just shove it in there, and then it's just a waiting game. So the first thing you want to do when you're baking is separate the wet ingredients from the dry ingredients. And the reasoning behind that is so that the ingredients get a proper, well-even mixture and consistency. So the first thing we're going to add is half a teaspoon of salt. So I'm going to get my half a teaspoon of salt. And what most people do and fail to realize is that they just take it by the bunch and then they just throw it in there. But like I said, baking is a science. So proper technique would be grab a knife, use the flat, non-sharp edge of the side, and you're just going to carefully strike it off. And then so that it's even and leveled, you throw it in there. So now that is done, we are next going to move on to our 2 cups of sugar. For the 2 cups of sugar, let me get my 1 cup out and open this. The same thing with all dry ingredients and wet ingredients. We want to try to get even consistency as possible. So we're just going to scoop. One of the things that you don't have to do that some people tend to do, maybe not the sugar, but a lot of the other ones, is that a lot of, should I say, like the more compacted ingredients, is that you try to compact it and just like push it down and shove as much as you can. But you don't want to do that unless the recipe calls for it. So I'm going to put some more sugar in there, but wants to cooperate with me. I'm going to level it off, put it in there. As you can see, just salt and sugar. As far as my sugar in a Monster coffee. But next we're going to go to is the half a teaspoon of baking powder. So I have my teaspoon, throw it in there. Once again, level it off. Plop it in there, we're good to go. Next dry ingredient is the 1 cup of AP flour. And I'm going to, the recipe actually calls for 2, but I found it best through using it a lot. Using this recipe is to just do 1 cup. Makes them actually a little bit lighter and fluffy, more goodness. And then next is the cocoa flour, cocoa powder. This one's more like a milk chocolate. One of the things that when I was doing my research is that, chocolate's good for you in small amounts, but actually the best chocolate for you is the dark chocolate. So, you can use whatever chocolate you want, whatever is best for you, but dark chocolate also, the benefits of dark chocolate is it helps decrease blood pressure, things like that. Helps reach blood to your brain. Actually helps with diabetes and things like that. So now that that is done, we're done mixing with this. We want to add the eggs, and with eggs, we want to crack them in a separate bowl. And another thing that people fail to do with eggs is that they just plop them in there. But if you can, you want to actually pre-mix them. So now that I'm doing that, and pre-mix them. So now that I'm mixing them, the thing you want to look for when mixing the eggs is you want to make sure that it's like a consistent yellow, or it almost looks like butter. And so mixing, and then so once that is done, from there we can add the butter. This is I already pre-measured this out to 1 butter, so I'm going to add that. The same thing with my vanilla extract, which is what I did already. It's pre-measured. That is going to be added into there. If I can get this thing open. Once that is added, mix again, and then it's going to get added to my dry ingredients. And so, like I said, the reason why we mix them separately is because so they get like an even consistency when mixing them together. So once I am done mixing, there is a proper mixing, like the technique with the whisk, but you don't have to. It's up to you. But in the end, it's like you want to get it to like a nice consistency where it just kind of falls down. So this looks about done. Everything's mixed. So then what you want to do is you want to spray your pan and then add your brownie mix. And once that has been added, you want to kind of level out. You don't want to make it all the way to the top, because then what happens is you're going to be over bake. You just want to punch them so that all the air bubbles, you can't really see, but there'd be air pockets, and they pop up, and then by then, hopefully your brownies are cooked and baked. And so, from there, when you are done, you should end up like delicious brownies like this. I can slowly go over the things you can choose to decorate them. You can add some sort of frosting, or any way to personalize them in the end. And so at the end of this, I went over how to prepare and bake brownies. I showed you that there's several types of things to